Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Food Experience. Today's experience, I got a good one for you. We're going to make some Alice Springs chicken, which is kind of one of the signature dishes from Outback Steakhouse. I've never had it at Outback. When I go to Outback, I order a steak, but I haven't even been there in a few years. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make doubles here. I'm going to cook one of them in the Kalorik Maxx air fryer oven and the other one in my Blackstone E-Series tabletop griddle, just to kind of compare the two, see if there's a difference, and we'll see how it turns out. But first, what we got to do is make the marinade. Let's get to it. For the marinade, you're going to need some Dijon mustard, some honey, mayonnaise, a measuring cup, and a small bowl. I also want to let you know I am scaling this recipe down in half. The original recipe calls for 4 chicken breasts. I'm going to make 2. So if you're going to make 4, just go ahead and double these ingredients. So I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of Dijon mustard. I picked up some clover honey. You can use whatever honey you want. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of honey. I think I added a little extra on that, but I like it that way. Then you want to add 1/8 cup of mayonnaise. Also, I forgot to mention you are going to need some fresh lemon juice, and you want to use about 1/2 teaspoon here. Like I said, I'm having this recipe and I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. So there we go. Next, you want to go ahead and whisk everything together. Give it a good whisk. There we go. That ought to do it. Next, I recommend getting a small little bowl and go ahead and put some of that honey mustard mixture in there, and you're going to use that as a dipping sauce when the chicken is finished. That's about all you need. Next, I'm going to use some boneless chicken breast. Next, I'm going to take each chicken breast and place it in a Ziploc bag. Next, grab your marinade and go ahead and dump it in the bag. Now that everything is bagged up, go ahead and seal and make sure that the chicken breasts are thoroughly coated with the mixture, okay? And you may even want to get rid of some of the air that's in there as well. I'm going to do that. Now that I'm sure everything is coated, I'm going to throw this in the refrigerator for a couple hours. Alright, so I've had the chicken marinating for a few hours. First, we got to cook some bacon. And like I said, I'm going to keep both of these Alice Springs chicken to each individual unit. So we're going to make bacon on the Blackstone and bacon in the Kalorik Maxx. And I'm going to go ahead and preheat the Blackstone to 385 degrees. There we go. And with the Max, I'm going to go to 360 degrees in air fry mode. That's what I cook bacon at. So set it on air fry. I'm going to change the time to 20 to allow for a preheat. And set it at 365 I'll do. All right, good enough. Sometimes I do 360, sometimes 365. I've even gone as high as 370, but I don't really like to go higher than that. I did the same dish yesterday when I went to visit with my dad. It came out amazing, and hopefully it will today as well. So let's go ahead and let these devices preheat, and then we'll start cooking the bacon. So with the Max, I'm going to use the bacon tray on top of the drip pan, and I'm going to put it in the regular air fry position. Here we go. And with the Blackstone, I'm just going to lay down 2 strips of bacon. I decided to lay down another strip on the Blackstone. Why? I'm hungry. The bacon is definitely done. It's going to burn if I leave it in any longer. That's what it looks like. Also, I want to mention that I'm going to be cooking both of the chicken breasts at 385 degrees. Normally I cook chicken at 350. But I know the sweet spot with the temperature on the Blackstone is around 385. So I just put the combo steak tray and drip pan in the Max. I'm going to go to oven mode this time. I'm going to set the time up a little higher to allow for extra time. And set it at 385 and hit start stop. And that way, that pan is already heated up when I put the chicken on. And it looks like the bacon is really just about done on the Blackstone. Yeah, that's looking pretty groovy. And the extra piece that I put on, that's just about done too. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. I'm going to put the one on the Blackstone first. Go ahead and open the Max, slide the tray out a little bit. and it immediately started sizzling because I heated up the tray during the preheat. And it's going to be a little bit of a time. I'm going to go ahead and close the lid on the Blackstone. You're allowed to keep it closed up to 15 minutes. Probably after about 6 or 7 minutes, I'll go ahead and check the bottom of that piece and then probably flip it over. And I'm going to have to flip over the one in the Maxx as well. Stay tuned. I also want to note that the original recipe, the way Outback does it, is they add sauteed mushrooms on top near the final phase, but I'm not going to do that. I don't like mushrooms. I was going to substitute with onions, but I totally forgot to get an onion at the store. A little bit of time has elapsed. I'm going to go ahead and check the chicken that's in the Blackstone. See where we're at. I was going to use tongs. I think I'll use the spatula. Oh yeah, nice browning to it. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. That's looking pretty good. Not sure if you could see it. See if I could zoom in. And that's what I'm looking at with the Blackstone. Has a nice brown going on to the bottom. Gonna go ahead and close this again. So yeah, this is like totally fun. I really like that I'm comparing the way the same dish is gonna come out on two different devices. And it'll be really curious to see if there's even any difference at all, you know? So I checked the chicken in the Maxx. It's up at 91 degrees right now. It's still not really brown on the bottom like I had hoped for. I just checked the internal temperature of the chicken on the Blackstone, and it's at 163 right now. The Maxx, the temperature of the chicken's at 113. And they're gonna go ahead and bump up the heat a little bit. I don't normally like to cook chicken that hot in the Maxx, but I'm going to need it to speed up just a little bit, and I want to leave it at 400 because once I turn on air fry, I want it to be at 400. So I'm probably going to have to take the one that's on the Blackstone off for a second because I want both of them to kind of be done at the same time. Let me check the one in the Maxx, see if it needs to be flipped over. Oh yeah, now it's starting to get a little brown on the bottom, not too much, but I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. Yeah, it's like barely brown. Not the same thing as what the Blackstone's doing. It's at 118 degrees. I'm going to turn on the air fry when it's probably like 130, 135, right around there. I don't want the chicken to get too brown on the top. And when you air fry, it blasts the heat down. So, gotta have to be really careful about that. And this one on the Blackstone, I swear, it's just got to be done. Looks so good. Yeah, 155. Gonna give it one more flip. All right, so I think I'm going to remove the one from the Blackstone. We're going to put it back on near the end once the Maxx catches up so I could add the bacon and cheese. I just used the probe on the chicken I took out of the Blackstone, and it's at 168 degrees right now after it's been resting a minute. It's like that perfect temperature. With chicken breasts, you don't want the internal temperature to get too high because if you do that, it's going to dry out the chicken breast. A lot of people in the old days said, I don't eat chicken breasts, they're too dry. And that's because people overcook them and they don't realize what internal temperature they were cooking it at. So be very mindful when you're making chicken breasts. That's what I want to say about that. The one in the Maxx is now up to 132 internal temperature. So I'm going to let it go a couple minutes more, but then we're going to turn on the air fry. The internal temperature of the chicken in the Maxx is at 136, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off oven mode, turn it on air fry, just up the time a little just in case, and I'm going to set it at 400 degrees and let's start it off. There we go. And that should help the top brown. And after the temp goes up a little bit more, I'm going to flip it over and we'll get the other side as well. Internal temperature of the chicken in the Maxx is at 141 right now. And by looking at it, it definitely looks like it's getting some nice browning on top, which is exactly what I hope for, because it should have almost like a crust, you know? The internal temperature of the chicken in the Maxx just reached 150 degrees. So let's take a look at it and possibly flip it over. Oh yeah, that's nice and dark looking for sure. Go ahead and flip it over. And we're going to let it cook till it gets about 163 degrees or so, and then I'll be able to take it out of the Maxx. Chicken in the Maxx is now up to 163 degrees internal temperature, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it, and it should finish off when it's resting. There goes my thermometer there. Oh yeah, and it's got a nice crust to it for sure on most of it. And it's up to 165 now. I'm going to pull the probe out. Love working with probes. It makes things so much easier, and you could guarantee the exact results. I will put a link in the description down below for this temperature probe. I think it's around like $11 or $12 on Amazon. Really a heck of a good deal, and it definitely works well. And also to let you know, here's what the chicken in the Maxx looks like. Not too bad at all. And for the Maxx, I'm going to put it back in oven mode at 400. Because now we got to do the final touches. So I'm going to go ahead and put the chicken back on the Blackstone. And now we're going to apply the bacon. Now let's go ahead and apply the bacon to the chicken in the Maxx. Now I'm going to use some Colby Jack cheese. I'm going to go ahead and put a good helping of cheese on top. And close the lid. For the Maxx, I'm going to go ahead and slide the tray back out. Go ahead and put the chicken on. Add some cheese. And we're going to go ahead and close that up. And let her rip. Now the one in the Blackstone, it's looking pretty melty. Another minute should be done. And the one in the Maxx definitely looks pretty done. In fact, I might even turn it on air fry mode so it blasts down. I didn't want to do that at first because I was afraid the cheese would go flying all over. But most of it's melted, should be okay. And that will definitely help speed up the process. One in the Blackstone's definitely looking done. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And last step, I'm going to put a little bit of parsley flakes on the top. And that's what we're looking at. It looks so good. I'm thinking the one in the Maxx should be done by now. Oh yeah, and it's even got kind of like a nice brown to the cheese actually. And add some parsley flakes to the top of the second one. Let me show you what I'm looking at as far as both go. So yeah, that's what we're looking at, Blackstone and the Maxx. Not too bad at all. Both of them worked out good. The one in the Maxx took a little bit longer to cook, but really not too bad at all. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go back up. We're going to sample both of them. Welcome back, everybody. That was a totally fun adventure right there. So first I'm going to try the chicken from the Blackstone, see how it is. I got my dipping sauce that I made earlier right there. And let's go ahead and sample a piece from the Blackstone, why don't we? Nice crispy crunchy bacon. That honey mustard sauce is so bomb. Let me try the thicker end. All right, here we go. Nice and juicy. Gonna trade places now. And we'll try the one from the Maxx. The one from the Maxx, the end was really quite black. So I'm gonna chop that off and go a step in after that. Dunk it in the honey mustard. Oh, that's good too. Fantastic. The cheese, the bacon, chicken nice and tender and moist, the honey mustard, so good. Just perfect, really good. Both of them came out so good. And I was worried at first that the one in the Maxx wouldn't brown because of the way I was doing it. Hitting it with air fry for the last like 10 minutes definitely seemed to make a difference. And they came out very comparable, I will say. So that's what we're looking at. On the left is the Blackstone, on the right is the chicken from the Maxx. Both of them came out really good. The one on the Maxx, the cheese got a little bit more like that nice browning effect where I didn't get it with the Blackstone. But just to let you know, either the Blackstone or the Kalorik Maxx, each one is a thumbs up on this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish the chicken in peace, probably put some of it aside for tomorrow. And I hope you enjoyed this experience of Alice Springs chicken, CopyCat edition, in the Blackstone and the Kalorik Maxx air fryer oven. I think it was a hit either way. Blackstone finished a little quicker, but I got really about the same results from both devices. And don't forget, I'm going to put a link in the description down below where I found this recipe. I think it was Culinary Hill or something. Let me look it up on my phone real quick while I have you here. Yeah, culinaryhill.com. And I'll put the link there. You don't have to worry about remembering it. Just check the description and you'll easily be able to find it. They did theirs a little bit different, I think in a cast iron. And it just goes to show no matter what format you do things in, you're going to get close to the same results, maybe just a hair different, right? So, with that being said, we're going to buzz out of here. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please drop me a line down below. I totally love hearing from you guys and interacting with you. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the way out. I got all kinds of good ideas coming up. And with that said, have a stellar day. Be excellent. And most of all, remember me. I'm KJ Andio, your food experience host with the most. Y'all take care, and I'll see you next time.